I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Tuesday, July the 13th, brought to you in part by Brommagen Commodities. That's my friend Candy Sullivan out there in Kentucky. Got an office there in the flagship location there, Bluegrass Stockyards in Lexington. Tell you what, get a hold of her, get you an account open. You never know whenever you're going to need it for hedging, whether it be livestock or grain. You might just have a hunch, get a hot tip or the like, but get a hold of Candy Sullivan there at Brommagen Commodities. She can help you do about anything that you care to do as far as being a commodity broker there, and she give you a lot of advice of what's going on around the circuit on a daily basis there too. But for more information, go to BrommagenCommodities.com, and remember, every time you get to fooling with commodities, you can and will lose money. How about a fully open Monday? About time. My gosh, the way that the 4th of July landed, it just seemed like it killed 2 weeks right in there, even though we kept selling cattle right along, you know, with only your late week sales and then the early week sales the next week. But it's nice to have our packing plants back fully open with, you know, steam blowing out all the stacks, full bore. We're back into having our regular high volume Monday sales with a good test of the market on them. Had the big Western video market on there with yearlings selling on Monday, and oh my gosh, wait till you hear some of the quotes out of there. But you know, even selling fat cattle on Monday. You know, we had kind of a disappointing week last week whenever we had the northern plains, especially Iowa, still kind of gaining ground on there, like we'd been going there for several weeks, steady to a little bit stronger. But the southern plains was disappointing because they gave up ground on there. But Monday had a big string of steers in Nebraska. Fat sell at 125. Of course, it was to a regional. They're the only ones that ever push for quality and push for numbers, because they don't have everything completely tied up like your majors do. But it's still good to see them moving cattle early in the week at a good price. That's well above what your weighted average would be in your 5 area feeding region. So moving along pretty briskly there. But I got to tell you about the Western video market sale out there in Reno, Nevada. I'm coming to you from Omaha, Nebraska, out here at a DV auction meeting, but headed to Reno on Tuesday morning. Going to give a talk out there and see a lot of my good friends that's associated with Western video market. Looking forward to going there and seeing what those late summer and early fall calves are going to be bringing on the Tuesday sale. And then after those, Tuesday here they're going to be selling your breeding stock, and then going to have a lamb sale right after that. Then come back on Wednesday and sell the later delivery calves. But have to tell you about the goings on that happened on Monday, where they sold most of the yearlings, and just huge strings of them. Of course, a lot of the big videos get huge strings, but nobody gets them any bigger than Western video gets. How about the herb cattle there? Several different lots of them, but about 11,000 head in the total consignment out of Dillon, Montana. My goodness. And I tell you what, the competition for those Montana cattle to sell on video is fierce, but still, Justin Neeson, my friend there, you know, reps cattle for Shasta Livestock out of California, got those Montana cattle in there, and like I said, about 11,000 of them, about a half steers and half heifers. The steers, and these were just straight up cattle. These were not program cattle, but huge strings of grass yearlings coming from that country up north there. But 850 to 970 pound steers for mostly August into September delivery. Bring from 147 to 150, 375. Then about that many spayed heifers, and the key is spayed heifers. They'll feed about like a steer, guys, and the market's really great for spayed heifers, especially your summer yearlings coming off grass there. But those delivered about a month later for the most part on the average, and that helped them just a little. But similar weights on the spayed heifers, and the prices were pretty much steady to only $1 back of those steers, and keep in mind they did deliver about a month later, which helps them $2 or $3 there. But I tell you what, when you move your heifers as close to steer price as you did and sell them that high, And like I said, they were not program cattle, just good cattle. That is a hell of a sale right there. How about Mart and Cindy McNutt's cattle there in Ringgold, Nebraska? That's in the Sandhills there. But they had program cattle. Of course, they were NHTC, all natural, and GAP 4. GAP 4 is the big deal. If you can get that in there, you get into that Whole Foods marketing, and they tell me that you can have as much or more as a $300 premium on the carcass, but when you give the bulk of it up when you buy them as yearlings, that doesn't seem like that good of a gamble to me. But I tell you what, there are real premiums out there for program cattle. And for you guys that are backgrounding yearlings, especially in the summertime on grass there, it's not that hard to get them in there, especially the NHTC deal. You know, just don't implant them. But if you have the ability, especially if they're home raised cattle, you know about their history and everything, if you could just kind of swallow the fact that you need third-party verification, it doesn't take that much to get them in some of these natural programs, and then you can even go as far as a GAP 4 type deal, but it makes a huge difference. But Martin, Cindy McNutt, they've got all their cattle programmed and got all the paperwork lined up and everything, and they are selling cattle there 950 to 1,035 pound steers, program steers for late August and September delivery, for 155 and a half all the way up to 169.50. Wow. But I'm going to give you the highest quote that you've heard in a long time. I know we've had some high cattle. We had high cattle on the Week of the Rockies. We've had high cattle in Bassett, Nebraska. We've had high cattle all over the country, but they're all going to sound cheap compared to the Kelly Ranch steers there from Sutherland, Nebraska. Of course, they've got all the programs, bells and whistles, and GAP 4 too. But those cattle, 123 head here for late summer delivery, 800 pounders at $182 for 800 pound steers, guys. Wow. But let's talk about your board on Monday to open the week. August live cattle futures up 60 cents at 119.82. That felt kind of good after we felt like we were cheated out of some market position on your live cattle futures last week. October was up 22 cents at 125.80. And then you go on your back months of live cattle, and they were all kind of consistently higher, from up 45 cents to up 72 cents. Not big gains, but just kind of nice consistency on the gains there. How about feeder cattle contracts? August feeder cattle, and all of them were consistently lower, with the biggest losses on your spot contract and then kind of fading out as they went towards the back months, but all consistently lower, and it was all due to corn being higher on Monday, and that makes sense to us. We don't get upset about that because that makes sense. Now, when we have these things coming in from left field, that's frustrating, but whenever we can see fundamentally what's going on, it kind of makes sense. But like I said, August feeder cattle down $1.02 at 158.15. September down 82 cents at 161 even. Back months feeder cattle contracts down 52 cents to down 75 cents. December corn new crop up 16 cents at 5.33 a bushel. Your spot July was up 39 and a half for old crop. Beans new crop November up 21 cents at 13.50 and a quarter, and your July old crop up 28 and a half. So you know, that just kind of works on a pulley system there. But your weighted average on last week's negotiated fed cattle sales out of your 5-area feeding region was 69,600 head. Kind of disappointing, but if you remember, last Monday was actually a holiday. It was a federal holiday. That 69,600 compared to 74,900 the week before, which to many of us kind of felt like more of a holiday. And then the same week a year ago, 108,600 head. But you talk about your live sales and steers and heifers last week out of your 5-area feeding region, ranged from 118 all the way up to 127, kind of steady to $2 lower. Your weighted average on live steers, 122.16, and that was $1.73 lower than the 5-area weighted average from the previous week. Dress sales steers and heifers from 191 to 203. Your weighted average on dress steers was 198.33. That was actually up 6 cents, just 6 cents a hundred compared to the previous week's dress steer weighted average. But I told you they were getting along so much better in the northern plains than the southern plains, and that's why they sell all those dress cattle in the northern plains. But if you looked at your weighted averages on live basis from the previous week, Iowa was actually a nickel a hundredweight higher. Nebraska was hanging in there pretty good till late in the week. They ended up down about $1.30. Kansas was down $1.16, and Texas, where they don't sell hardly anything negotiated, lost $1.58 on the weighted average on live steers there. But your nationwide negotiated trade this last week was 82,400 head. Formula trade was 234,600 head. Wonder why we don't have any hand in the relationship. But of that 82,400 negotiated, 34% of those, are about 27,900, were for the 15 to 30 day delivery. Box beef cutout values were mixed. That's the first we've seen mixed. They've been falling completely out of bed from the inflated prices that had been going on for the last many weeks. But choice cuts on Monday afternoon ended the day as trading at $2.75 even. That was down $3.59. On the other hand, selects were up $1.36 at $258.77. Talk about your feeder cattle market, your real-time index on DV auction. Late in the afternoon on Monday here, 152.55. That was down $1.12, and we just we worked through all those special sales and everything as we come back around, and now we're starting a new week. And it's not that cattle weren't selling well, it's just we had a lot of Southern Plains sales on Monday, and that's just going to pull them down a little bit from the big sales that we had last Wednesday and Thursday on some of those big yearling specials. But look at your brick and mortar sales. Oklahoma City, Oklahoma National Stockyards, 8,700 head on Monday compared to 2 weeks ago. Feeder cattle were $3 to $5 higher. Steer calves $1 to $2 higher. Heifer calves $3 to $5 higher. So a good sale, getting back going on a regular schedule now in Oklahoma City. Joplin Regional Stockyards, 4,500 head there. Market was pretty much steady to $2 higher straight through on all classes. How about Russell Livestock, Russell, Iowa, 54 head, weighed 616 in Russell, Iowa at $184. How about Callaway Livestock in Kingdom City, Missouri? Had some fancy calves in there, 94 head of them, weighed 580 at $190. We're getting up there pretty good. Don't have to be the best ones that walk. How about Tulsa Stockyards? Tulsa, Oklahoma had some strings in there. Blaine Lott's auctioneer, world champion there, a friend of mine told me about these cattle. Said they were 3-colored cattle, just good feeding cattle, but they had some little nipped horns on them and had a few of them showing some cross in them. They were just commodity cattle. 189 head at Tulsa Stockyards, weighed 875 at $153.85. Hell of a sale there. How about up in the northern plains where it's dry? Faith Livestock Auction in Faith, South Dakota, 77 head, weighed 830 pounds at $160.25. But the biggest and best quote that I saw anywhere on Monday, and your Zach Tran top quote for the day, come out of Tri-State Livestock in McCook, Nebraska, 543 head through a brick and mortar sale, weighed 881 steers at $158.10. And that's your feeder flash for Tuesday.